Recording a podcast can feel a little bit overwhelming. Let's put aside the fact that you have to think about what you want to talk about and who you're going to be talking to, and focus on 3 things that you need to ask before you hit record, and then 2 things that you need before you get started recording. So the first question you want to ask is, where will you be recording your podcast? If you're anything like me and you're recording in your home, it has multiple angles, hardwood floors, glass windows, and painted drywall that are going to cause what's called reflections. So in order to tame those reflections, you can do some acoustic treatment, or you can rely on something called a dynamic microphone that will help block out the sounds and isolate your voice. The second thing that you want to consider is, who will you be recording? Are you going to be recording just yourself? Great. You can use what's called a USB microphone that will plug directly into your computer and allow you to start recording right away. If you want to have guests or multiple people on your podcast, you'll need to use something called an audio interface with an XLR microphone plugged in. That's because your computer can't recognize multiple USBs coming in at the same time as audio sources, unless you do some under the hood tricks. But for this video, we're focusing on top level, okay? And the third thing that you want to ask is, how will you be recording? So I'm using GarageBand in this particular tutorial. There are many other platforms out there, so give them all a try. Many of them have free trials. When you're using them, you want to be considering, how easy is it to get my recordings in? And then how easy is it to edit my recordings on the way out? Because you might be doing that for the first little bit when you're getting your podcast up and running. Okay, so those are your 3 questions. Where am I recording? Who am I recording? And how am I recording? The next thing that you need to consider is, how are you going to capture your voice for your podcast? In many cases, you're in an imperfect room like this one, where you need something that's going to capture your voice and reject sounds coming in from the rear and the sides. In this case, the MV7, which I have here, is a great option. It's a dynamic cardioid microphone. It features voice isolation technology, meaning it's going to reject those sounds, and it has a USB XLR hybrid output option, as well as a headphone out on the back. So this means when I start recording, I'm not going to be capturing the reflections of my room. You can also use a condenser microphone if you have a more treated environment or space. That's going to capture more of the nuances and details of the voice. Just be aware that it might also pick up certain things like HVAC noise or typing or extraneous noises. The second piece of gear you can't live without is a good set of headphones. This allows you to monitor your audio in real time to make sure that you're not getting distortion, that you're not too quiet, or that you're not getting what's called plosives, which is when your voice produces air that pops into the diaphragm of the mic and creates those sounds from certain consonants. I recommend our SRH 440As. They're super comfortable, won't break the bank, and allow you to monitor that audio in real time. So, you need to think about, where am I going to be recording? Who am I going to be recording? And how am I going to be recording? And then you need to consider which microphone you want to use to capture your voice, set up your headphones, and you're essentially ready to rock. There are many different platforms and many variables to explore, but those are the basic needs that you can have to get your podcast up and off the ground quickly. I'm Laura Davidson. For more information, visit us on Shure.com, and thanks for watching.